For being with him for so many years, it's amazing to see a kid from a man to a grown man.
As they were going to announce this fight initially, DV allegations dropped. Tank was arrested and it was once again put in doubt.
Before the fight was cancelled on Monday after a civil lawsuit filed by ex-girlfriend Courtney Rozelle accused Davis of battery and aggravated battery.
Calvin Ford broke down in tears during a live stream after learning about Gervonta Davis's arrest. He spoke about their long journey together, from tough beginnings to becoming a world champion, and how he watched Tank grow not just as a fighter, but as a man. His voice shook as he described the pain of seeing everything they worked for come crashing down. The emotion overwhelmed him as he realized how far they had come, and how heartbreaking this moment felt.
My journey's crazy. That's why I said that. I said, yo, you can't write this, man. You cannot write this. My experience being gone, and all the stuff that I went through, preparing me for where I'm at today. You know, that Tank is older. He had the lessons, getting his lessons of what he got to do, take us the rest of the way. And this is his take us the rest of the way fight.
Gervonta Davis has faced several controversies throughout his career. Earlier this year, the mother of his children accused him of mistreatment, though the case was later dropped. Not long after, another woman filed a separate lawsuit, adding even more attention and criticism around his name. Even with the first case dismissed, the string of legal issues affected his image and became a major topic in the media. People often point out that personal problems don't stay private for public figures, especially athletes with huge followings. No matter how successful Davis is in the ring, he still faces public judgment, constant media discussion, and legal challenges that can hurt both reputation and career opportunities. Fans, experts, and the boxing world evaluate fighters not only for their performance, but also for their behavior outside the ring. Davis's situation shows that achievements alone cannot protect an athlete from the consequences of public and legal pressure.
As the Roach rematch never happened, the Paul camp still thought Tank is a big enough name regardless of his previous result to go ahead with this bout. But just as they were going to announce this fight initially, DV allegations dropped. Tank was arrested and it was once again put in doubt. Then the charges were dropped. A week later, they announced the event. So that kind of brings us to today. This event hasn't been smooth sailing so far, and was almost destined that there would end up being a few more bumps in the road before we actually saw the two facing off. And about as big of a bump as you could really get has now hit the promotion. A civil suit has been filed against Tank, in which his ex-girlfriend accuses him of aggravated battery, false imprisonment, kidnapping, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. While it was also reported by ESPN that a report has been filed additionally with the Miami Gardens Police Department last Tuesday. However, as I'm recording this, there's yet to be any criminal charges. Now, these alleged incidents happened last month, which was after the announcement of the fight. You would think if you're Tank on the verge of the biggest payday he's ever gotten, he would be doing anything to stay out of trouble, yet he continues to find himself in negative situations again and again. But in saying all of this, everything at the moment is very much alleged, and I'm not really here to talk about the validity of these claims. What I am here to talk about though is the impact this might have on the boxing event in a couple weeks time. Now, Tank vs Paul, love or hate the idea of it, was destined one of the most viewed fights of the year. Although there are rumours of there being poor ticket sales, the at-home audience that was...
Roy Jones Jr. commented that Davis has been dealing with personal issues for a long time, and this new lawsuit only adds more weight on his shoulders. He said the timing couldn't be worse, especially with the planned fight against Jake Paul now cancelled. According to Jones, many in the boxing world already knew about Davis's past struggles, so the situation isn't surprising, but it still hits hard. Jones explained that losing a major fight opportunity during such a stressful period makes the situation even more difficult for Davis, who now must face public criticism and the disappointment of a missed career moment.
Paul didn't work out. Just what were your thoughts on that whole thing?
Man, I really don't want to even have much to say about that because everybody take it the bad way. But all I'm going to say is this. Jake Paul knew what it was when he first signed the fight. This ain't the first time he had battery against a woman. You knew what it was when you first signed the fight. So don't get mad and cuss him out and talk bad about him now. You knew what it was when you signed up for it. Come on, bro. You know what I'm saying? Let's not do that. I don't talk bad about him either. but don't do the dude like that. No, the dude having a hard time in his life right now. Don't just do him like that, you know what I mean? Because you knew exactly what he was when you signed him to fight the first time. All I gotta say.
Tank's team has kind of been bringing that, like, talking about just some of Jake's past, and more kind of said that Jake said he's actually afraid to fight Tank. I mean, do you think it leaned a little more on that side, and they're just selling it the other way?
I already know what it is. Like I said, I already know. I'll get into it, but we all know when young guys go through issues. That's just...
Jake Paul also shared his view on the incident involving Davis. Paul claimed that Davis was completely sober and fully aware of what he was doing, suggesting there was no attempt to avoid responsibility by blaming alcohol. His comments present Davis as someone who knew his actions, while also shedding light on the pressure he may be under behind the scenes. However, Paul's remarks are based on his personal account and are not legal statements. Even so, his comments can spark rumors and add fuel to public speculation. What this really shows is how closely every move of a high-profile fighter is watched and discussed. Paul's perspective highlights the constant tension between an athlete's private challenges and how the public interprets them.
Was on Aiden Ross, and he shared a story about Jake Paul, about Gervonta, and he said, look, Aiden, it was 4:15 in the morning. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. Gervonta Davis was sober. He got sober into a car and drove out there at that hour to do this. This guy is extra bad. Let me repeat that. Let me repeat that. Jake Paul said that Gervonta Davis left his house sober and went to Tootsie's nightclub sober. I just want you to put your common sense hat on. How in the world would he know that? Does Jake Paul talk to Gervonta Davis? Did Gervonta Davis tell Jake Paul, I was sober when I left the house? Did Jake Paul have a camera in Gervonta Davis's car? Did he have a breathalyzer in Gervonta Davis's car? Did Jake Paul get toxicology reports from 3 days ago from Gervonta Davis? I am just curious as to how in the world Jake could possibly know that Gervonta Davis was sober. Let me tell you for sure, I will have a drink now and then. If I take a couple shots of vodka and I walk out the house, I'm a little buzzed. Sometimes my wife doesn't even know. How do you know, Jake? The answer is you do not. You are just trying to add something to the story to make Gervonta look worse. It wasn't enough that Gervonta Davis was accused
Coach Kenny offered a deeper look at Davis's journey, explaining that every top-level fighter faces enormous pressure and constant challenges both inside and outside the ring. He noted that setbacks, whether legal issues or negative publicity, don't erase the years of hard work, discipline, and determination that brought Davis to the top of the sport. Kenny reminded everyone that the road to greatness is rarely smooth. It includes difficult moments that test character and demand resilience. Temporary problems may slow a fighter down or affect how the public sees them, but they do not take away the foundation of talent and commitment that built their career. In Davis's case, Kenny believes that staying focused, working hard, and pushing through adversity remain the key parts of his journey, no matter what challenges he is facing right now.
This hype that becomes a love and hate with this sport, when you're in it, right?
I think fighters have always loved the sport itself. It's the bullshit that comes with it behind the scenes, the dishonesty and shit like that. That should get on my nerve.
Yeah.
Not saying that's what Tank's situation is, just the sport, period. I'm speaking on the sport, man. If people will be honest and jokers really take fights like they said they would, but behind the scene, they not taking the fight, but on social media, they won't take the fight. It's a bunch of bullshit, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's the shit that I don't like about the sport. And the promoters need to come together, man, and let the guys fight. Problem is, you need a fighter to carry each promotional company. The promotional company don't want to put their man in there with no real fighters because their company gonna flop. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So they won't that's why the big fights ain't happening. If fighters can take a loss and still and keep on taking that, all this new generation shit is crazy. I've seen guys with 10 Loss is when